Try to recall the last time you spent 2 hours working on a single hard problem. No phone, no browser tabs, no interruptions, just you and a genuinely difficult task. For most people, that memory doesn't exist. This isn't because of a lack of discipline. Trillion-dollar companies have built an entire attention economy that treats your inability to focus as its primary business model. In 2016, Cal Newport, a computer science professor at Georgetown, published an academic thesis on this exact shift. He argued that the ability to focus deeply is becoming rare at the same moment its economic value is rising. Newport's observations predated the explosion of TikTok and the shift to remote work. Today, his decade-old data on digital distraction aligns with the current reality of the labor market. As AI begins to automate routine cognitive tasks, the economic gap between those who can think deeply and those who cannot is widening. Reclaiming this capability becomes more difficult as the technology designed to fragment our attention continues to evolve. Modern workplaces suffer from a structural flaw. When a manager cannot easily measure the value of a cognitive breakthrough, they look for visible activity instead. This creates a reliance on proxy metrics. We track productivity by measuring how many emails you send, how many meetings you attend, and how many minutes it takes you to respond to a Slack message. The optics of this system reward the wrong behaviors. A worker who spends 4 hours in uninterrupted thought to solve a complex problem looks on a calendar like they did nothing. A worker in back-to-back meetings looks indispensable. High-value ideas require long periods of isolation. Yet the structures of modern work are engineered to punish the exact conditions required to produce them. Sustained attention operates like a physical muscle. It requires deliberate tension and practice to maintain its strength. When you reach for a screen at the first sign of boredom, you deprive this cognitive muscle of the resistance it needs. You are actively training your brain to be incapable of long-term concentration. This mental degradation remains invisible until you are faced with a complex task that demands your full attention. At that point, you realize you can no longer hold a single thought for more than a few minutes. Every digital distraction rewires your brain's capacity for depth. You are trading your ability to think for a temporary hit of stimulation. We are often told that multitasking is an efficient way to manage a heavy workload. The data on human cognition proves the opposite. When you jump between tasks, your brain leaves behind cognitive residue, a mental film that sticks to the next thing you do. This residue accumulates. By the time you reach important work, your mental capacity is so fragmented you can only perform shallow tasks. This fragmentation is a major liability in a shifting job market. Sustained cognition is one of the few human abilities that cannot be easily automated. In a world where machines can process data at scale, a worker who cannot focus is surrendering their primary advantage in the knowledge economy. Many people assume that the rise of artificial intelligence makes the need for deep human thought obsolete. Look at what AI actually excels at. It synthesizes information quickly. It handles massive data sets. It executes routine, clearly defined instructions with perfect consistency. These are the hallmarks of shallow work. AI is a tool built to process high volumes of information at high speeds. Attempting to compete with a machine on speed and volume is a losing strategy. Humans cannot outscale a system designed for frictionless processing. We are seeing a new division of labor. Machines handle the volume of data synthesis, while humans are required to provide the judgment and direction that only deep focus can produce. AI cannot sit with a complex, ambiguous problem for hours. It requires a focused human mind to provide the context and the high-level goals it needs to be useful. Reclaiming focus is difficult due to an institutional flaw. Quitting social media won't help if managers view delayed responses as disengagement. You must make the case that focus is the actual product they are paying for. It's the only way to produce high-value insights. This requires changing your relationship with your tools. The inbox is not the work itself. For most of us, the inbox is the primary obstacle preventing the work from happening. As the ability to think deeply becomes both rarer and more valuable, you have to ask yourself, if you aren't actively protecting your attention, who is profiting from your distraction?